So, yeah, Luxembourg. You'd like to officially call it the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. It is apparently a small landlocked country wedged between Belgium, France, and Germany, right? To increase GPD per capita, the average residents of the area need to produce more stuff for an economy to achieve it. They are residents of its neighboring countries. So they travel to Luxembourg every day to work in one of its world famous industries, and then these people go back home at the end of the day. Hi, my name is Amani Jessica. I easily go by Miss Amani. So, in case you're new here, thank you very much for stopping by. You could feel at home. Feel free to join our very tight knit community. We do like to say we are a tight knit community that plans to hold each other along the very long journey ahead of us without anybody falling off the bandwagon. So you could be a part, you could be a shareholder of that particular pride simply by subscribing, going through our previous segments, liking, sharing, commenting, interact with us. Thank you very much. And for my returning subscribers, thank you. You guys make what it is my tight knit community, and I am very, very grateful for your loyalty. So for your loyalty and always granting me audience in as much as I continue to create. I do not take that for granted. So thank you very, very much. So today, right? Today, aside from our norm, you do know Amani TV to be home for all entertainment. It is a platform where if you're seeking to be entertained, this is where you call home, with East Africa being our very center of concentration. So today we are switching it up a little bit, okay? So this is the side of Amani TV where we call it our insightful corner, where all investors, anybody in the quest for wisdom, knowledge, and a diverse understanding could come and be fed, right? For our aspiring leaders, this is where you could come and be inspired. So here's where we share knowledge and we give insights and we deepen the level of comprehension for particular things in a diverse manner. So, yeah, welcome and join me in our insightful corner. So, today we are shedding light on Luxembourg, right? So, if you followed up, right, if you've been on the know, if you've not been living under a rock, you do know that Luxembourg has been ranked as the wealthiest country in the world. Right? So, of course, for those in quest for wisdom and knowledge, and of course, your curiosity levels are up there, you'd like to know and understand what puts Luxembourg top of the map as the wealthiest country in the world. So, we did dig, we did do research, and we gathered all of it, and we are here to share the gist. Right? So, be my guest. Okay. So, yeah, Luxembourg. You'd like to officially call it the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. It is apparently a small landlocked country wedged between Belgium, France, and Germany, right? So it is home to, by many metrics, the most successful economy in the world. Mind you, it's a small country geographically, right? So it has a GPD per capita of $133,590, which is almost double that of the United States, which is at 70,249 $70,249. Okay. So, of course, you'd ask, what is GPD per capita? So, GPD per capita is a metric that measures a country's gross domestic product per person. I'll repeat that. So, GPD per capita is a metric that measures a country's gross domestic product per person. All right. So, of course, knowing every other country in the world, you'd agree that certain national economies come off as very impressive since they are the world leaders in particular, like economic metrics like GPD per capita or average national wealth or even human development. All right. Though this doesn't include micronations like Monaco or the country Luxembourg. So, pay attention. I have said micronations like Monaco or the country Luxembourg. So, with Luxembourg being small geographically, it doesn't count as a micronation. Okay, it does not count as a micronation. So yeah, that doesn't include micronations like Monaco or the country Luxembourg. So it's easy to understand why Monaco has such impressive economic statistics, since it's a country with very favorable tax laws and for wealthy people looking for a place to settle. Okay, so rich people are attracted to it because of its tax laws and because it's a nice and safe place for them to live with a thriving social scene of other rich people. So, of course, it's favorable for them. So, with all that demand combined with a tiny supply of land, since it's micronation, combined with a tiny supply of land, means that only rich people can afford to live there. All right, only rich people can afford to live there. And if a country is filled with very wealthy people, it is of course inevitably going to have the highest GPD per capita in the world, regardless of the government's policies. Okay, so mind you, we're talking about Monaco and why it has such impressive economic statistics. All right, remember I have put separate Monaco and Luxembourg, because of course you'd like to assume that because Luxembourg is small geographically, it's a micronation. It is not. So I have separated the two. So now Luxembourg breaks that particular traditional understanding of economics because it's achieved tax haven, micronation levels of wealth while effectively being a regular economy. Okay, so the tax haven and most of its residents are regular working people. Okay, unlike micronations, where the residents are wealthy people from all corners of wealth. So it has a regular economy, and it has regular working people, it has regular industries, it has a regular government and regular tax revenues. Okay, all of those things are regular. So despite of all its apparent regularities, it is by far the wealthiest country in the EU and also the wealthiest regular economy in the world. Mind blowing, right? So again, like I said, it has a GPD per capita of $133,590, all right, which is almost double that of the United States, which is at $70,249. Okay, so would like to all believe the way we know USA. It's also a very impressively productive country, very productive. But Luxembourg's economic output is 13 times that of the global average. All right. So it leaves USA by a very far gap. Okay. So, with all of that said, let's get into into how Luxembourg achieved such high levels of economic output and what sets it apart from all these other countries. And all these other countries that we also do know that they actually have are doing quite well, like USA. So let's check into how Luxembourg achieved such high levels of economic output. Okay, so to increase GPD per capita, the average residents of the area need to produce more stuff for an economy to achieve it. Okay, so this can either be given where the residents, if the residents rather, have access to better tools, better training, or better jobs. All right, and Luxembourg apparently does this very well. Okay, it is known to have one of the world's best job markets. Okay, it has one of the world's best job markets, a highly skilled workforce, and access to the world leading industrial and financial infrastructure. Okay, let's check into why. All right, so an economy can an economy can also increase the GPD per capita. Here's how: by just getting people to work. Okay, because forced participation is very important. So if people are not working and there are a lot of them who are choosing not to work, then that will bring down the average output of the average resident. Okay, so now Luxembourg has a very high labor force participation rate. Okay, very high, and it has a small population and huge industries, so it needs all the workers it can get but those industries are so large that it actually brings a lot of workers from abroad. Okay, we've talked about Luxembourg being small geographically. All right, so um, since it has a small population and the industries in Luxembourg are very huge, it of course needs all the workers it can get, and for that, it has to source workers from abroad. All right. So Luxembourg has a more direct solution to finding workers. Here's why. Remember, I told you it is part of the EU. Okay. So being part of the EU means that citizens from Belgium, from France, from Germany can all cross borders. Okay, to work its jobs in Luxembourg, then cross borders again to go back to their respective homes. All right. So around 200,000 people, which makes 46% of the country's workforce, are not residents of Luxembourg. All right. They are residents of its neighboring countries. So they travel to Luxembourg every day to work in one of its world famous industries, and then these people go back home at the end of the day. So these people will be producing goods and services to contribute to the total economic output, or GPD, of Luxembourg. But because they are not residents, they don't get counted in the denominator when economics like are working out the GPD per capita, right? So they don't get counted. So a lot of economies, especially those in Europe, where cross-border working, of course, you do know that cross-border working is something that happens in a lot of economies, right? So a lot of economies, especially those in Europe, where cross-border working is so easy, benefit from these calculations as well. But what puts Luxembourg aside, what makes them stand out, is a fact that how many it's by the number of how many workers like are non-residents in Luxembourg. All right. So there are no other countries in the world that bring in almost half of their workforce without them being migrants. Like if the workforce are coming from other countries and to the country, they are made migrants of the country. All right. And migrants that live and work in their host countries still do get counted as residents. So they don't skew the GPD per capita figures like they do in Luxembourg. So this is what makes Luxembourg stand out uniquely, right? The workforce that comes into the country to work are not regarded as migrants. So like they're not residents, they're not counted as residents. All right. So yeah, that stands as one of the reasons, or rather one of the things that led to Luxembourg being considered to, rather having it be able to achieve such high levels of economic output. So other than that, other than the whole thing of having a huge percentage of the workforce not being residents of the country, but then they come in the country, they work, and then they go back home, which puts the GPD per capita at a very good level. Banking, steel production, and tourism also account for most of its economic output. All right. So these are all perfect industries, but all for different, but are all like different. Okay. So financial services do account for more than half of the country's entire GPD, by the way, financial services. So it's a very important industry. So Luxembourg is an attractive destination to a lot of very wealthy individuals and institutions. Right? Here's why. Since it's part of the EU, right? It uses the euro, right? So being part of the EU also gives it tax and legal advantages that are not very common to all. It's not like a common thing. So these financial services have gained it the reputation of being a place where if you're making a lot of money and you need banking services that are going to be favorable to you and you're a lot of money making, this is the destination for you, right? So it's gained that reputation rather for quite some time. Okay. Given the country's small population, most of their banking is focused on international clients, of course, which again translates to become a benefit to the country. Okay, and at large, benefit to the GPD per capita of Luxembourg. All right, so with that said, we also did went on to look into the lifestyle, all right, the living state of the people of Luxembourg. So with our research, we did find out that living in Luxembourg is actually very expensive. And for people to move out of their homes, I am made to believe that they do stay in their homes up until the age where they're almost ready for marriage. The research where I was reading that even specified a specific age, which is 31, because the rate that it is to afford a house is very high. So, with this in mind, anybody who is coming in to Luxembourg to work would definitely come in and work and go home. So, before you think of settling in the country, you have to put a lot of consideration in place. It's very expensive. You have to, like, there's a lot to it. So, that again also discourages overpopulation because, of course, not everybody will just come. And for you to actually come and settle in the country, you're going to tick the list of all of the expenses that it needs to be in the country, which is again also a benefit to the country at large and GDP per capita. So yeah, with that said, Luxembourg has a very, if you ask me, is a very unique country. Okay, and with the research that we have done and the conclusions that we have given, I think any other country that is looking forward to being ranked as among the wealthiest countries in the world should put some of these considerations in place. All right, like if the GPD per capita becomes the main thing into ensuring the country is raised to the level of its wealth. And we did also see that the country people, the residents, the citizens of a country should really be put as a top priority in such a manner. Okay, I did tell you guys that for Luxembourg, it has put a very keen interest in ensuring that the residents are able to produce more staff. How is this? They have access to better tools, better trainings, and better jobs. So imagine if every country, rather, if countries in East Africa considered that their residents need access to better tools, better training, and better jobs, putting also in place that if you're bringing workforce from abroad, which is a common thing that is done, if you're bringing workforce from abroad, uh, um, um, look into ensuring that they do not come and since it's the country is as the host, you don't host them as migrants, like they just come and work and go back to the specific countries, to ensure that they actually get to skew the GPD per capita figures when like at the end of the day. You get what I mean? Like all the people coming into work, and also ensuring that the people that are coming into the country to work are of a really higher percentage than the people within the country. I mean, I'm just but concluding from the research and the conclusions that we have gotten from Luxembourg. All right. So, yeah, with that said, I think we have just but begun. I think there's too much to Luxembourg that is to be put to surface. There's too much to Luxembourg that is to be put to light, and it's a very interesting country to learn about. And it is a country that also has a lot to learn about. It's a country that has a lot of inspiring. It's a very inspiring country. If its lifestyle itself, if how people live itself, if us here in the African land, we do know that it takes a certain age for us to move out from our homes. Luxembourg goes to prove that no, it doesn't specifically have to be that age. It can be this other age. So it seems like there's a lot to learn from Luxembourg, and we at the Money TV are very excited to actually check into it, and we are going to dig more about Luxembourg. Be sure that I'm going to bring more of Luxembourg here in our Inside Corner, because I'm still looking into it. It is very how can I say, nerve arising, all right? Like you get to learn such things about such a country, and I think it's very inspiring for even the aspiring leaders. You're looking into getting into a leadership seat, a leadership role. These are some of the things that you need to feed yourself, so that when you go to the table, when you're discussing these things of how to make a country prosper and ensure that it is ranked as one of the wealthiest countries. These are things you could bring to table and put to discussion, and get to see how you can put them in place for the sake of the country. And for those of us who are just on the wisdom quest, those of us who just want to be fed with wisdom, with understanding, with insight that is very diverse, I'm sure this is your thirst has been quenched. You get what I mean? So yeah, we are this is not the end of learning about Luxembourg. You can be sure that I'm going to dig more. I'm going to dig more, and if it takes us to actually go to that country, manifesting here and there, if it takes us to actually visit Luxembourg, I think Amani TV will be ready to do that. So yeah, I hope every leader, every aspiring leader looking to gain wisdom on the kind of things they would put in place when they get those specific roles, we are sure that we have given you bits and bits of that. So we have come to the end of the talk on our insightful corner. So I hope you have been inspired. I hope you have been added upon your wisdom and knowledge, and I hope that it has given you a deeper understanding and level of comprehension. So in case you have any other country, or even a person or a leader or legends and people that you would like us to look into and talk about them in an inspiring of course manner, do let us know. And in case there's another country that you find interesting and you'd like us to bring it on table, also do let us know in the comment section. Feel free. And I hope I have taught you a few things about Luxembourg. Okay, so be sure that I'm going to come back with Luxembourg again, among many other countries, with also many other people, even leaders. We are going to put them on our desk and talk about them, or even talk to them and talk with them. So you never know what's in store on this particular insightful corner. So I have enjoyed. I hope you have as much as I have while creating this particular insightful corner. So yeah, I can't wait to see you on the next one. I can't wait to sit on my research desk and cook for the next insightful corner. So yeah, it's been yours, Amani Jessica.